160. He's gone.
What's up, guys? We're back here in the garage for part 2 of building this Harley seat. And in the last video, I showed you guys how to make a custom fiberglass seat pan that's fitted to the bike. And so today, we're going to be foaming it and wrapping it in leather. And what I bought is a 4-inch thick piece that's 13 by 36, or 16 by 36, sorry. Which is convenient because my seat is exactly 16 inches long and about 12 inches wide. So we're going to cut one 13 by 16 piece like this. And the trick here is you want to sculpt the bottom of your foam to kind of match the seat. So if you think about this as a rectangular prism cut into space, then what we want to do is we want to fill in all of the space above this. We want to fill this entire volume right here smoothly and evenly on top, and then glue this on. And once it's glued on there, we can actually sculpt a spot for my butt here, but that will give us a flat surface back here, a smooth incline right here in the front, keep everything looking good and nice and smooth. So once we get that done, I bought this, which is a piece of goat oil tanned hide. You want something that's 3 to 4 ounces, a little bit of a thicker piece of hide. And I of course got it dirty, but basically once we're done, this will go over here and we'll use an air stapler to staple from the back side and kind of wrap it. One caveat, generally with a seat that's shaped like this, you have to have a formed seat. Basically someone cut this up and stitch it up and then pull a piece of leather back through there to give this a nice tight crease. I don't have the skills or the equipment to do that, so we're going to have to kind of do the best we can with what we have. But that's kind of the general game plan. I'm going to try not to get my leather all dirty. And with the leather, you have two sides. You have kind of the smooth oil side, and then you have kind of the rough side, and obviously the rough side is going to go inwards. So first step is to cut a 13-inch slab of this foam. So here's our block of foam, and all we're going to do is so it's 16 inches this way exactly, which is the length of our seat. So all we have to do is cut a 13-inch piece, which makes it a little bit wider than what the actual seat is. And that way we can just trim everything down. Now, as far as trimming the foam, there's a couple of different ways you can go. I'm kind of learning this as I go along with you guys here, but we're going to try using just a standard knife to cut through this foam here. As far as sculpting it, you want some sort of abrasive disc, so I'm going to try using an angle grinder, maybe some air tools, we'll see. But before we get to any of that, I'm just going to take a straight blade like this. The seat off the bike, and we're going to figure out how we're going to trim this down to fit. So what I'm actually going to be doing here is I'm going to take this flat piece of this ruler and put it up against this block and slide it in until it touches. So now we know that the front of this is exactly where the front of the block is. We know the back of this piece is exactly here. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to indicate where our curves need to go. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to take this ruler and indicate a profile. So as you can see, this part is actually a little bit taller than 4 inches. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to cut off another piece and we're going to glue it on here. And that way we can kind of profile the whole seat. Okay, so this is the stuff you're going to want to use. It's called 3M Super 77 multi-purpose adhesive. Shit's sticky, so be prepared. Apparently it also gums up its nozzles. So be prepared.
She can get it, say if you a bad bitch, put your hands up high, hands up high, hands up high. Tell them the lights down right now. Go.
I recognize your fragrance. Hold up, you ain't never gotta say.
So there we go. There's our side profile, and that is all the material we have to remove. Now, as far as how we're going to go about cutting through a piece of foam this big, I don't yet know. But we're going to have to. And so basically we got to trim out all this piece on the bottom, and then we can mount this remaining piece here to that. It's not producing a very smooth cut, but this kind of metal saw is basically the only thing I found that's going to go through this stuff pretty well.
Every second, every minute, man, I swear that she can get it.
You can get it, you can get it, you can get it. And I know you what you want. Poetic justice, put it in the song. Alright.
Every second, every minute, man, I swear that she can get it. Every second, every minute, man, I swear that she can get it. Every second, every minute, man, I swear that she can get it. Every second, every minute, man, I swear that she can get it. Every second.
Well, there we go. Our seat bottom is kind of carved out to fit, and now we have to do all of the edge trimming. And so to do that, all we're really going to do is just trace out how this seat flows.
And we did it all right here. Now they can't tell me nothing. But give it to the people. Spread it across the country.
That's where our trimming has gotten us to this point. The seat is, I mean, I got nice edges and stuff, but we are fast entering the area where I don't really know shit about shit, and so I'm kind of making this up as I go. But I don't know that I need this much padding back here, so I may cut this down a little bit more, and I definitely need to cut back into this. So we're going to do that next, I think. So this is going to make a huge mess everywhere, but using this kind of low grit count flat disc is going to let us sculpt this a little bit. So here goes.
Let's make this fleeting moment last forever. So tell me what you're waiting for. I'm gonna keep it frozen here forever. There's no regretting anymore. It's worth the wait, even so far away. I'm making the night mine until the day I die. No light to break when you're hanging by faith. You know what it feels like when you're dancing like just a beat inside my soul. Take me home where my dreams are made of gold. In the zone where the beat is uncontrolled. I know what it feels like. Come on, make me feel alive. Just a beat inside my soul. Take me home where my dreams are made of gold. In the zone where the beat is uncontrolled. I know what it feels like. Come on, make me feel alive.
Trying to get off. Let me go and get a beat from Kane. I swear these 808s snares make me go insane. Like, hold up, baby girl, I really wanna know your name.
Well, there we go. I know it doesn't look very pretty, but I just test sat on it, and it actually is pretty comfortable. And once we pull the leather down over it, it's going to look pretty good, I think.